How y'all doing today? What's going on? What they talking about? Man, what it do? If you like what I talk about, a dislike, comment, subscribe to the channel. Um, Definitely want to build up the likes and comments. Today, I'm talking about a very interesting topic. And I think in college football, a lot of teams are getting away from football and we're catering to maybe a fan base that's not really our fan base. Obviously, we had the pandemic. I think we're coming out of this pandemic, and I think, as far as I can recall, the Florida's governor has opened the state back up so stadiums, events can go back on, and you can move to full capacity. But we had this Corona COVID-19, and you had a year where you didn't have a lot of fans in the stands. Obviously, the Florida State Seminole fan base, we have a big problem, and I know it was a big email go out to everybody, pictures, and a lot of hoopla about changing the stadium. Obviously, Jerry Jones spent over $1 billion on his stadium in Texas. He did a lot of unique and wonderful things, and he kind of changed the way people can interact and enjoy football. Obviously, moving some of your skyboxes or luxury suites or suites from very high to down low creates that fans can use them. And then Arthur Blank having a stadium built in Atlanta. I had a buddy of mine actually sit in one of those kind of down low venues, and it's very unique. Now, Florida State is proposing to try to do something like this, and I am against it. And I'm explaining to you why in this video. And I think for us as Seminole fans, I think we've kind of gotten away from what we need to do. We have kind of gotten away from how Florida State operates as a team and how they play. And I think it's just a sad state to see us more concerned with not football fans, but these people just want to come out and use Wi-Fi. Obviously, our attendance has been down because the team has not performed well. And obviously, Tallahassee is a nice city, but it's kind of a far cry from maybe Miami, maybe Tuscaloosa, Columbus, Baton Rouge, LA, Ann Arbor, places like that, Atlanta, Georgia, Athens, Georgia, Clemson, South Carolina, Auburn, where everything's geared up more so towards the college or your team. Now, I've been blessed and fortunate enough. I've traveled to a lot of games. I've been to a lot of college football games that are not Florida State games. I've been on the plains. I live in Birmingham, Alabama. I work in Tuscaloosa because I work in the mine, Tuscaloosa County, but I've never been to Bryant-Denny Stadium. I've been by it, but never actually been in the game. I've been to Legion Field a lot. I've been to Clemson, South Carolina. Oh man, I went in 2015. Tremendous atmosphere, wonderful game. We used to have the biggest stadium in ACC. Now I think Clemson has it, and Clemson still has room. Clemson is much like their other big arch rivals. They're much like Georgia. If they decide to close the bowl in, they can have a tremendous home field advantage, but instead they keep it where it's at. And I've been to Athens. I went to watch my cousin play his senior year. He's in the NFL, played for Middle Tennessee State, Darius Harris, and they opened up against Georgia when Justin Field was a freshman. Tremendous atmosphere. One of the biggest away games I've been to is the Orange Bowl when we played against Southern and Northern Illinois. I've been to the Peach Bowl against Houston. I've also traveled to South Bend. That's probably one of the biggest moments of my life. We played them in 2018. And I took a trip out there to South Bend, and it was a tremendous atmosphere. It's very cold. I want to say it was 20 degrees, maybe 20 degrees that day, maybe 22 to 18 degrees at kickoff. But I really enjoyed every moment watching Francois and the Knowles battle. They fought. They're just not as talented, bad coaching. You had some bad players and different things, but that was one of the biggest highlights of my life. So I've been around. I hate I missed the national championship game out in Pasadena or the playoff game. And naturally that next year I was thinking, well, we're going to beat Oregon, so I'll just order a ticket to Dallas. That's closer. I can drive or fly. That didn't happen. So I think now people, especially like me, I'm probably going to, if the Knowles ever get back to a semifinal, I'm taking the semifinal. Whatever I can do for the championship, I'll do. But we used to be a school that thrived in playing in big ball games. That was one of the biggest recruiting tools for Bobby Bowden, was he wasn't so much worried about return games. He built the school by a lot of things that go on now in college football, especially a guy like Nick Saban. He's just following the Bobby Bowden playbook. He's drafted that playbook and he is following it. He's recruiting at an immense level, finding guys. It's not just 4 and 5 stars, going out, finding guys, taking chances on kids and getting them. And Bowden, one of the things he used to do, if you watch the Bowden Dynasty, is he changed recruiting by going to every high school, speaking to people that needed to be spoken to and getting players. Well, in the midst of that, Bobby would play teams. He would go to Death Valley. He would go to Columbus, Ohio. He would go to Lincoln, Nebraska. He would go out to Ann Arbor, East Lansing. He would go anywhere. He would play LSU. He would play this school. And finally, Florida State built a reputation of being able to go on the road and defeat these schools. And then they changed that mantra to getting the home and home. Now, I'm not against playing neutral site games in today's climate because the neutral site games are a big payoff. You know, if you can get to Camp World, you get the Cowboys Kickoff Classic or Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic, it's a big payday. Or just playing in the NFL stadium for your opener against somebody, big team. Obviously, a couple of years ago, you had Stanford and I either want to say Stanford and Notre Dame or Notre Dame, Georgia Tech play in Ireland. So if you can get those rare matchups, it's good for the fans. But I think for us, our AD, our administration have really failed the program. And obviously it's evident since Jimbo Fisher left of how the program failed and how we don't have the elite facilities to compete. Now, obviously that takes money. That takes a financial contributor. It takes a financial contributor. And it takes fans, it takes alumni and boosters, it takes the state, it takes a lot of support to get the things maybe that people at Alabama. But if we're going to be the Florida State team that's the baddest team in the land, if we're going to be the team that we can compare to the 90s, if we're going to be the team that we can compare to the early part of the 2000s, up to at least 2004. I think Bobby Bowden had his last 9-win season in 2004, and then he got one more season his next to last year before Jimbo takeover. So 9 wins isn't that bad. And his problem, which I already stated in another video, was developing players, and he hired the wrong coaches and coaching staff. Or I think he could have added at least 2 more national championships. But that's for another video, another conversation. When Jimbo Fisher took over. When he first took over, we have to remember we went on the road. We went out to BYU, and we put the smacking on them. We played Oklahoma in Oklahoma. We got beat, but we played. And then we had them in Tallahassee, and it's only you can look it up on YouTube, and how the war chant, how the crowd was rocking. So when you start talking about these add-ons, when you start talking about trying to shrink the capacity to make this luxury suites and these suite, you're hurting what makes us special. You're hurting what makes Doak Campbell, or whatever they're going to name the stadium. You hurt whatever is going to make that place great. We are not Georgia Tech. I took my son to Atlanta the last time we played Georgia Tech in Atlanta, 2015. Really, I was there for all the losses. Georgia Tech, Clemson, Oh God. And we lost to NC State, I want to say. No, Georgia Tech. I was there because that was the first loss. Then we lost to Clemson, and then we lost to, I think we lost one more game, but I know we lost to Houston. So I was there for all those losses. Well, Georgia Tech, my son was like, Daddy, this stadium is just so small. And it's a big stadium. It holds 50,000 people right in downtown Atlanta. And you're thinking, if he says this and you feel this, he makes a good point, because when you used to go into Doak and it's packed, like I've been to Doak Campbell and I'm going off numbers now. This is public record and these are numbers. I've been to the 2013 Florida State Miami. I went to the 2015 Florida State Miami. I went to the 2012 Florida game. I went to 2013 Florida game, and I went to the 2019 Florida game. So I have been in some bigger stadiums, like I told you earlier, but the biggest game, the all-time record, is 84,409 against Miami, and I was there. That's what I want to be at. You know, I should have went to the Oklahoma game, and I don't understand, because a lot of people in today's climate, with the team not performing as well, you don't want to spend money on a game where you're struggling against Duke or NC State, you're struggling against Wake Forest, and you lose, because you have to think about parking, ticket, then you're going to buy these high hot dogs and drinks, and you may get some memorabilia. You may go to the sports shop. You're going to bid on jerseys and stuff or pictures, and it's just not worth it. So somewhere the administration's got to wake up, and we got to say to ourselves and the fans, all of us, that we don't want the stadium to shrink. Now, I think maybe raising the north end zone, I've always said that, get Doak to at least 90 or 100,000. And I know people say, why that? But you can raise that. You can add some luxury suite skyboxes there. I think you can do a couple of things on the field without taking away from the stadium, especially the part around the rail. That's where the fans want to be at to see the game. Don't move that back and take that away from us, because that's where I try to sit at all the time. And definitely in the south end zone, where you have the marching chiefs at, where the garage door, you can maybe do something there to add a couple of different parts for fans. You can take that whole section out and add parts for fans and people to be in AC controlled units, and a glass like atmosphere where they can watch the game in the end zone without definitely shrinking the crowd or taking away from the marching chiefs. Because what needs to happen for us to be successful is we got to get back to not only these neutral site payday games, but we got to get back to playing teams on the road and getting them to come to Tallahassee. Obviously, we got Bama in a true home and home, and that's going to be huge. And I'm going to try to go to Tuscaloosa, and I'm going to try to go make it to Tallahassee. You got, hold on one second. I'm trying to think. We got LSU in a neutral site home and home, that's cool, because we're going to be in New Orleans. We're going to be, I think, in Orlando for that game. So that's pretty cool. But we got to, it's not hard. We play 12 games. You have 4 non-conference games, 8 conference games. Well, you really just take 3, because you're mostly going to schedule Florida as 1. We got to get out of playing Rudy Poo. You just going to have to get a product on the field that's good enough where we don't have to worry about scheduling cupcakes. I don't mind maybe one, maybe a Stanford or whoever you're going to play, but only one. Either that's homecoming, or you're going to have to just play Duke or Georgia Tech for homecoming. We need to get Arizona State. We need to get Michigan State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, which we got them. We need to get some Nebraskas, LSU, Texas A&M, Missouri. We need to start putting games in Tallahassee that's going to make people want to come and sit. Obviously, in the 90s, people were coming because they was excited. They was excited to see the guys play on offense, and then the Heisman race, Peter Warrick, Winky, all those guys. Then when Jimbo got there, it was exciting because he had a team that was playing good. In 2013, everybody wanted to come film. You want to watch Winston 13 and 14. Period. Because the offense could explode at any moment. The defense players were good. So you want to come and see that, because normally when you come and see that, you're going to see points. You're going to see defense make big hits, turnovers, sacks, defensive touchdowns, special teams. But when you don't have a good product on the field, you don't really see the good, because you don't want to come. Who wants to drive to Tallahassee? Like for me, it's 4.5 hours. And I come down, watch you play Clemson, and you get beat out the frame. And I watch you struggle with Wake Forest and Duke. It's nothing against you guys. It's just, it costs money to do this. So if we're going to continue on this pace, and I'm hoping that the players are getting better, coaching is getting better, we're getting better recruits, we should be better, then we need to start encouraging teams to come to Tallahassee. That way we can have a sold out crowd. I want to be at Doak Campbell on a Saturday night with 80-some thousand watching us play Georgia, watching us play Tennessee, watching us play Auburn, watching us play Washington State. I would love to fly out to Washington, watch us play on the road, or watch us go to the Coliseum again, and USC come down here, UCLA, travel out to, excuse me, a little bit of wind going, but travel out somewhere and watch us play Ohio State, or watch us play Michigan, teams like that, and that would help generate money, because I don't care if you got a bad team. People are going to want to say, man, when the last time Michigan took a trip to Tallahassee? When the last time? Really, I don't think we played many Pac-12, Pac-16 teams in Tallahassee. I know USC came to Doak and they got beat pretty good. Warwick didn't put on a show. Winky and Warwick went off, but you really can't really recall. And it's a lot of quality teams in the Pac-12, a lot of good teams in the Big 12. And I think Oklahoma was the last team to make the trip. It's BYU, you got Oklahoma State. So I challenge the fans and administration to think about shrinking the stadium. Don't do it. Take advantage of the beautiful stadium we have. I do agree, maybe adding some things for people to spend more money, for these big time fans and people to get these rooms. But you have the north end zone. You have the south end zone. You have some of these parts of the stadium, like maybe in the walkway on the corners and side. You take the ramp, take it out, put you a little room there for folks. And that way you just make the people walk down farther to get out. But you don't have to take away from true fans that want to enjoy the game. I understand putting chairs instead of sitting on the aluminum bleachers. I get that, because I enjoyed that when I went out to Notre Dame. I enjoyed that when I went to the Orange Bowl at Joe Robbie, Land Shark, Pro Player, whatever they're calling it, Hard Rock these days. So I get, raise that up a little bit. But shrinking the capacity, it hurts us, and it just shows how weak our AD is, and our department, our sports department is, for not trying to utilize what makes Florida State and Doak Campbell great, and getting games at home where we can get 80,000+ people in the stand, instead of just depending on Miami, Florida, and Clemson. Those 3 games. And if you're lucky, you get a ranked team from the ACC. I hate to tell people the ACC is a good football conference, but you have a lot of bad teams and a lot of teams that are not going to rile fans up. It's not like the SEC or the Big 10 or the Big 12, where every game is just such a big game people will want to go see. I'm sorry. People are not going to get excited for Duke, Wake Forest, and Syracuse. It just doesn't happen unless they're ranked. So the only way to counteract that is to allow big time ball games at Doak Campbell. Is to get more than Clemson, more than Florida, more than Miami. It's to get Alabama, get Auburn, get Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M, the TCU. Get teams that are trying to compete for national championship, and let's get on the road. Let's take this show back on the road, and let's bring them to Doak. I would love to go to the Coliseum and watch the Knowles play in LA. I've never been to California. I would love to go and watch them play. I take off a whole week, enjoy LA, and then enjoy the game and come on back to Birmingham. I would love to go to Stillwater I love to go up to East Lansing or Ann Arbor, go back to the big house like we did when we put that beat down on them and just enjoy that. I enjoy going out to South Bend. So we can do this, but it's going to take everybody. It's going to take effort. It's going to take a lot of people to think, don't ruin the football, because football now is so bad. First of all, these helmets are so ugly. I have to go see a game. I hate watching the game on TV, and I'm not concerned about Wi-Fi. I'm concerned about winning and losing, blocking, scoring touchdown. I'm concerned about us having bad technique, our linemen getting beat more so than, man, I need Wi-Fi in the stadium. So we have a long way to go, but I encourage the fan base not to cave in to shrinking the stadium, but keeping it the same, changing some things around, moving the end zones a little bit, and changing, getting some boxes there. Like I say, you got this one end zone with the garage. Man, you can put a nice little set there. You have this glass that's, weatherproof and all that. And you can make it where people can sit there and pay $10,000 a ticket to watch the game and everybody be happy, get a couple of club seats, and let's just play football. So I thank you for my time. If you like what I'm talking about, like, subscribe, comment. If not, y'all have a good day, and let's go Noles. Before I get out of here, I just want to talk about again, when you show up to Doak Campbell, it changed a lot as far as, when I first started going to games, it was, you could park almost anywhere. There's a lot of lots around the stadium, in the neighborhoods. Now you have the college town. Concessions are a lot higher for drinks. We finally did a little bit better as far as getting things in there, because when I went to Clemson, Georgia, it's like, I think Notre Dame had a little bit, but I know Clemson and Georgia, they had like Subways, Pizza Hut, McDonald's in there. They had better concession food. And for a long time, we just had regular concession, which is fine. But I think we got a little restaurant in there now. Well, yeah, Florida had some restaurants and stuff, but I think we're starting to get more things, but it's expensive. Parking. Then when I go, I got to stop in the stadium store and get some stuff. I got to bid on, do the silent auctions. I like to get memorabilia. I like to, go spend money. So just my opinion with the way the concessions is, with the way everything is, it just doesn't make sense for me to shrink the stadium down. Yeah, I know you lose in attendance, but you don't have a great product. It's nothing against the players or coaches that are coaching before or playing and coaching now. But when you start getting a team that's ranked in the top 10 and you start putting some big time ball games, and not just a top 10 matchup against Clemson, not just a top 10 matchup against Florida, top 10 matchup against Miami, but when the conference gets better teams and you're better, and then you're hosting Arizona on a Saturday night, September, and it's a top 10 matchup, or you're hosting Michigan and it's a top 15 matchup. This is what people want to see. Doak will be jam-packed, media coverage everywhere, and it's just a no-brainer. So with the climate of college football, I think shrinking the stadium is a bad move on our part as far as the people we have and the powers to be. Obviously, the standalone facility is very important, but keeping the integrity of Doak Campbell, of what the players want, playing in these big ball games, lining up. Like I say, I've been to the ball game, the number one ball game in Doak Campbell history, the biggest attendance, 2013. You had Miami undefeated. We were undefeated. I think the AP had Miami at 7. Another poll may have had it at 6 or 5. And you just talk about an atmosphere. Matter of fact, my first Sunshine Showdown was 2012 when the Gators came in, and it was 2 or 3 versus 12. We had the game under control. The EJ Manuel went out, but just the atmosphere. just two teams with one loss fighting, trying to get into the BCS National Championship, fighting for state supremacy. And the atmosphere was amazing. You know, I've been to Gainesville 2013. We went in there and just tore them up. I went 2014. So I went 12, 13, and 14. And just the atmosphere, you know, sellout crowd. Now in Gainesville that year, the Gators won that good, and it wasn't. It was like 80. I think the stadium holds 90. It was 70 or 80,000 in there, and I think the Swamp holds 89 or 90,000. But it was a perfect steal. A good game. So I'm just speaking my opinion, my heart, and I hope that we can keep Doak Campbell the way it needs to be and start getting the Oklahomas back in there, start getting teams, because that game, you go to YouTube and look at the atmosphere when that stadium was jam-packed when Oklahoma came to Doak Campbell. And it was just a good football game from start to finish. We lost, we were building, but that's what I want to go to. I don't want to go to the game because one of my favorite games, I'll tell you real quick, was I think the homecoming against Western Michigan in 2006. And Drew Weatherford started. He got taken out, and Xavier Lee came in and saved the day, and we won the game. And it was probably 2,000 fans in the stadium. Just being honest, no way it was over 10,000. And then you had the classic FAMU and Bethel Cook, and Florida State was not good. People didn't come, but I really enjoyed that game. And I'm telling you, it couldn't have been more than 2,000 people. So I've been to games where it was nobody in the stands. Literally, I've been to games where Doak was empty, but we overcame that. Obviously, we overcame that. Jimbo Fisher did and built it back up, and we returned the streak for a while to North Carolina. Took us away from it and took us away from us. Went not losing at Doak, and we'll get back there. But I just don't understand closing off the capacity. We have a great stadium. I think the 27th largest stadium in the world, and it's definitely in the top 30 largest brick buildings in the world. It's the second largest continuous brick building behind the Great Wall of China. So that's just very important. Y'all have a good day.